In August of 1939, physicist Leo Szilard and Eugene Wigner drafted the Einstein-Szilard letter. President Roosevelt called on Lyman Briggs of the National Bureau of Standards to head the Advisory Committee on Uranium. Briggs proposed that the National Defense Research Committee spend $167,000 on research into uranium. On June 28, 1941, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 8807, which created the Office of Scientific Research and Development, with Vannevar Bush as its director. They engaged in large engineering projects as well as research. There were many unknown factors when it came to the bomb design. The biggest was the properties of pure uranium-235 were relatively unknown, as were those of plutonium, an element that had been discovered in February 1941. Scientists envisioned creating plutonium in nuclear reactors. The second largest problem with the scientists' idea of the bomb were that there were no reactors to make plutonium, and there was only a tiny quantity of it available. By December 1943, there was only 2 milligrams of plutonium produced from the recently constructed plants. Edward Teller, a Hungarian physicist, pushed for a more powerful bomb than was thought: the hydrogen bomb. The hydrogen bomb used the explosive force of a detonating fission bomb to ignite a nuclear fusion reaction in 2 different elements. The U.S. government made 4 weapons in total: the Trinity gadget, which was used in the Trinity test; Little Boy, which was dropped in Hiroshima; Fat Man, which was dropped on Nagasaki; and an unused bomb, which went unused. When the project started, Chief of Engineers Major General Eugene Raybould selected Colonel James C. Marshall to head the Army's part of the project. At the start of the Manhattan Project, production plants which produced fissionable materials was unheard of. A single TNT production plant at the time cost $128 million to build, but the Manhattan Project required 4 production plants for $90 million in total. The production plants had to have ample electrical power and large bodies of water to provide cooling for the reactors. Los Alamos is located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was acquired by the U.S. government on November 25, 1942 for $440,000. It is most commonly referred to as Site Y or the Hill. The Trinity test was a full-scale nuclear test performed at Los Alamos. It was a $1 billion loss for the U.S. government. The Manhattan Project was one of the best-kept secrets of World War II. It was punishable by 10 years in prison or a $10,000 fine. To improve morale, the government created 10 baseball teams, 81 softball teams, and 26 football teams. A Life article estimated that before the bombings, only a few dozen people knew what the Manhattan Project was. In November of 1943, codename Silver Plate took place. It was a modification of B-29 bombers to carry the nuclear bombs. On December 17, 1944, the 509th Composite Group was activated, under the command of Colonel Paul W. Tibbets. Their training included flying long distances over water and dropping dummy pumpkins on targets. On August 6, 1945, the 393rd Bombardment Squadron, B-29, Enola Gay, piloted and commanded by Tibbets, lifted off with Little Boy in its bomb bay. Hiroshima was the primary target. When Little Boy detonated, it killed about 70,000 people instantly. On August 9, 1945, the B-29 boxcar lifted off with Fat Man on board. They flew to Kokura, which was the main target, but cloud cover and low fuel caused them to fly to Nagasaki, their secondary target. Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki and killed 40,000 people instantly. After the war, plutonium production stopped. The average price per bomb was around $500 million. Overall, the Manhattan Project cost the government $1.89 billion.